SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 317. I'm your host, Spencer Presley, and joining me for this double dose of tactical interviews is our special guest number 2, MacLeod Andrews. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. As we were talking about before, I'm fresh coming off of the daily 9-to-5 grind, so you're getting peak performance Spencer right now. How are you, though?
I'm doing I'm hanging in there. I've got lots of little kids, and they're having sleep regressions and screaming at late into the night, and have been sick most of the week. So I'm kind of rolled at the moment, if I'm honest.
I can definitely understand that. Now, how little are we talking here? Are we talking like super young?
Yeah, we've got 16-month-old twins. And then a 3.5-year-old.
I would just say that's more selfish on them. I'd say they should know that you have things that you got going on. Like, they should really put your schedule into consideration for once. I mean, come on.
Right. So self-centered.
But yeah, so if anyone doesn't know who you are, first off, shame on them. Number two, I for the longest time, like, I had to keep reminding myself your character's name because, like, for the longest time we didn't really know who the heck Toshiro was. So yeah, you are in Persona 5 Tactica, hashtag not promoted, not sponsored, but out this Friday, everyone listening legally obligated to buy. Wanted to ask you on the show, and I'm so glad we could get you on to learn who the heck you are, but also this character you're voicing. But yeah, like, what's the quick, like, Twitter summary bio of who the heck are you, and how the heck did we get you on here?
Oh, wow. My name is MacLeod Andrews. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. I fell in love with theater early. I'm basically a theater kid. Went to school in Vermont, then moved to New York and did theater acting there for a bit, then moved to L.A. and just lived in L.A., made a couple movies with friends, been narrating a lot of audiobooks, and do other voiceover as well.
I will say, I always, like, find it funny. I'm waiting for, like, the one voice actor I find who somehow either doesn't have theater origins or just like has a hate relationship with theater, because it's always so funny of, like, how often, like, they usually go hand in hand.
Yeah. But I was thinking about this. I feel like it doesn't matter how you came to acting. If you are here, if you are doing it, you're a theater kid. Like, whether you did theater or not, you're basically a theater kid, because it's the same thing. I think what draws you to it is all the same.
No, for sure, because, like, the similarities are, like, almost hard, like, not to really notice, because the big one with it is kind of like you're looking for that kind of creative outlet, and especially if you're in, like, a school setting, especially I feel like in the West, you don't really have a lot of outlets like that you can really physically kind of do it. Without going into, like without having to travel, like, outside of, like, where you live. So yeah, like, theater is kind of that next best thing, because most places, especially schools, are going to have some sort of program.
Yeah. And I theater is just kind of like the lowest bar to entry, because all it requires is, your body, and a space. And some would say someone to watch you. Others would say doesn't even need that. But
yeah, anything movie-wise, like you had kind of mentioned, while I was looking up your stuff with it, I am a big cinephile, so I'm always excited when I find out about movies I didn't know about.
Oh, nice.
For anyone out there who might be kind of in a similar boat, out of any of the movies you've worked on or anything like that, what's, like, the kind of default one you recommend to someone?
I'd probably say They Look Like People. That was the first film my buddies and I made together. It's all very lo-fi. We made it with just kind of whatever money we could scrounge together between ourselves. So, no crazy special effects, just human relationships. But we got to tour a lot of festivals with that, and won some awards and got distribution, and yeah, on the whole, people have really liked it. I really love that movie, and then maybe A Ghost Waits. I made that with another friend. Same deal, lo-fi, like low budget. All of our movies are kind of really hands-on, kind of guerrilla style. But yeah, some people like The Siren better than They Look Like People. It was originally titled The Rusalka, but the distributor was like, no way. We were like, okay.
Not SEO friendly enough of a title.
Exactly.
See the what is it? The I love the poster though for They Look Like People.
Yeah,
though.
it's really
I'm always
cool.
a sucker for. I'm always a sucker for like my inner graphic designer in me always enjoys like looking and critiquing movie posters because like I feel like it's such a very specific kind of thing for movie promotion. People don't really think of anymore. It's just like, oh hey, what's the thing you're clicking on Netflix?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But like I think of like those times where even now like it'll happen much less so nowadays, especially with how weird movies have been this year, but I love that feeling of you're walking past a poster and you're like something about it catches your eye and it's like I got to look this up now. And I remember one of the last ones I had that I somehow had missed the trailer for it was Ethan Hawke's poster for The Black Phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where he's wearing that mask.
And I remember that poster was like really striking to me for some reason. And like the other one I wanted to ask about was for who, if you remember, do you know who did the poster for A Ghost Waits, by the way? Because I liked
Sister Hyde.
the use of like the pink campaigning on
I
it.
hope I'm getting that right. Let me just look it up real quick to make sure I'm not messing that up. But I think it was Sister Hyde. She is incredible.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always funny because like another one that always sort of comes up here, especially on this show, whether with like people we've had on recently with it, is a lot of crossover kind of between not only voice actors but also audiobook narrators. And one of the ones like I feel like I don't ever really ask into that too much is like, what was your origin for like audiobooks? Because it's one of those things of I feel like it's such a huge field.
Mm-hmm.
But like it doesn't really get the recognition people don't automatically think of, oh hey, who's reading all of these books?
Mostly actors, I think. I'm assuming...
please be actors. I don't want to like find out like a 9-year-old child in middle school read this book, please.
First, how do I wait? Where's the chat? I want to send you the link. Here we go, chat. I'm sending you Sister Hyde's webpage so you can peruse at your leisure.
Thank you.
She's awesome. So the question is, how did I get into audiobooks?
Mm-hmm.
A girl I went to school with, I was just, catching up with her at some day at like a party or whatever. And she was like, well, I've been narrating some audiobooks. And I was taken aback because she wasn't pursuing acting as far as I knew. And I was like, how'd you get into that? She was like, well, my mom works for an audiobook company. And I was like, oh, well, I'd love to talk with her sometime. And she just sent me an audition. And I sent her my audition. She sent me notes, said, try it this way. Sent another audition, booked it, flew to Michigan, where the company was based, and yeah, recorded it. It was an incredibly stressful activity, because it's so much content to get through, and you make a lot of mistakes. And it had a lot of dialects and character voices, and I think the protagonist was like a 12-year-old, and my voice was a little higher at the time, but it was all like right in here, and then big characters like going down the Missouri River with a riverboat gambler or something, and lots of weird terminology, and I just kept messing up, and like tripping through it sentence by sentence, and I was just like, I'm doing such a bad job. And luckily the director was just like, nope, no big deal. We might need an extra day. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. But man, I would go back to the hotel and just lay out. Like as soon as I was done, I was just drink tea, lay on the bed, and try to go to sleep as fast as I could. It was exhausting. Luckily, I built up my sort of over years and years of doing it.
Well, it's one of those funny things of I think people don't really understand how much more different it is, because it's like you think of the difference even between something like I'm voicing a character in a 23-minute anime episode versus I'm voicing a 2-hour animated movie and I'm voicing a 30-hour JRPG versus, hi, I'm voicing a 38-hour passage of the Bible.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely you need to pace yourself. I definitely try to instill as much high energy as I can when it's warranted, obviously, and avoid falling into rhythms. But yeah, it's a slog. Over the years, you learn how to conserve your energy and let the mic do the work for you. You just crank that gain, baby. You just crank that gain, and you just get right in there, and you just practically whisper it in there.
You want the mic to come to you is really what you're.
Because otherwise, if you're projecting, you're not gonna and like using your diaphragm. I actually, when I narrate audiobooks, I actually it's more like me talking to you right here. I don't really engage my diaphragm that much when I'm narrating. It's just kind of passive airflow. But yeah. So over time, and I don't know if you can build up the muscles, or it's more a mental game, getting a sense of how to manage your energy levels and your frustration and your focus, and you learn over time that mistakes are just part of it, and you don't give yourself a hard time. There used to be this thing called, or there still is, it's called a run, when you record a lot without making any mistakes for a long time. And a lot of the things about audiobooks are quantitative rather than qualitative, which bugs me. So I don't give much credence to runs anymore. I don't really care how long I go without making a mistake. I want it to be good. But people be like, oh man, nice run. Oh yeah, nice run all the time. But I love mistakes. Gives me a chance to rethink what I'm doing and kind of catch my breath, listen back.
Well, yeah, and this definitely comes from like years of me being an editor and writing as well. Is like when I go so long without hearing critiques from people, I almost get more self-conscious of myself because I want that kind of feedback. Right. So I know I'm not going to always pick it up on myself, or even like when you mentioned about auditioning, just having someone you've never met before give you a piece of advice on something, or like, hey, try something like this, whether it be something you're comfortable with or kind of stretching your legs and getting used to. I like that because I'm all for being lazy and complacency with it, but especially when it comes to working in creative like mediums and stuff like that, I always love just sort of like being like, okay, what can I do that I've not done before?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Definitely trying to not repeat yourself. What kind of editing do you do?
So for the longest time, I did a lot of editorial, like journalism and stuff like that. So either working for newspapers, mostly like a lot of like websites and stuff like that. Or out of college, a big thing I wanted to do was get into the games industry with like writing. Yeah. And because a big thing coming out of high school for me, like a decade ago, was I really loved writing and I really loved the games industry, but I also enjoyed like talking about it in terms of like doing podcasts and stuff like that. And there was a lot of like hand in hand with it. But what was funny was a lot of those cases are like, hey, no level of like, oh, I'm fresh out of school X, Y, or Z is going to really help you get a job with that. And a lot of it is just kind of put your boots on the ground and show that you can do it in general. So I remember I reached out to a multitude of different sites, was freelancing for a while, and had a funny example of a buddy of mine's site had just lost its features editor. writer as well as PR. And when I mean they lost their PR, this was like the funniest thing ever to me. He was like, "Hey, our old PR manager just kind of stole the email password so he could get all the free game codes, so we kind of have no relationships anymore." So I got to learn at like the ripe age of 19 how to basically learn all the ins and outs of PR management, which was really funny. And it just was a lot of like learning how to do cold calls, learning how to make emails to people, and learning how to basically be like, "Hi, we're company X. We need we need you to know our new contact information and not send this person free things, please."
Oh, come on, don't blow up his spot.
That's true. I mean, yeah, really. If you could send it to both, that'd be great. I just need to make sure, like, because like it would be that great part of being like, "Hey, I sent you Call of Duty 11 or whatever. Where's that review?" Be like, "Well, I'd love to know where it's at." I'd also like to know where that review is.
Right. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So like as like time has gone on with it, it's one of those things of like I miss writing more, but I definitely got way more into podcasting in terms of easier with like juggling a day job and doing this, because my whole thing has always been I would love to ditch all my day job responsibilities and do it full time, but I'm also a huge coward who likes having a safety net at the same time.
Who doesn't? I mean, if you've got anything at stake, then you definitely are making sure you've got one vine firmly in grasp before you let go of the other. I mean, you only have so many years of jumping off the cliff. As a man with 3 young kids.
Yeah, that's like the fun thing with it as well, especially like as I've like gotten older and stuff with it, of kind of like thinking about it. But like there are other like weird things of like as I kind of like started moving and adjusting like my resume and stuff through the years, thinking of like, oh yeah, I guess I do, like I guess running like this community kind of does count as like social media work or like community management work and things like that over the years, and has kind of like ebbed and flowed where I've been moving my like line of work over the last couple of years and stuff like that. And no amount of rejection letters from Atlas will keep me not applying for their open community manager thing, because if this job isn't really just a free community manager for Atlas, I don't know what is.
That's right. You've been auditioning now for hours.
It's true. Ironically, this show is my best weakness and strength at getting the job. Like this show is a good reason to keep me.
He's already doing it.
My hope has been to be so off the cuff that they actually just have to hire me to cancel the show. Because I've joked about it, because there have been so many other like persona-related podcasts that have come and gone over the years, but this is the only one that's really stuck. People have asked me, they'd be like, "Hey, how long do you see yourself doing this?" And I'm like, I will only end the show when like someone at Atlas literally has to hire me, and in my like hiring clauses, you need to stop doing this show.
I mean, I can't imagine what would make them make you stop. Like if you started doxing them all or something.
No, that's like the best part is like because this happened a couple years ago with other projects, but there was a really wild moment of realization where I realized that there are some poor businessmen in Japan who have to listen to this show. To make sure I don't ever say anything either like that. Because I've had times of things I've said stuff, and then as soon as the show's out, I get an email from someone that I'm like, that's wild.
Oh, wow.
Just like, very wild.
Spoilers? Like what? What are you not allowed to say?
So it would be cases of saying stuff that I've gotten information like either on or off the record from people who do or don't work there. And like other funny little things of cases where I've gotten coverage through. I've always, because like of my origins coming up in press, we get press codes for things coming out ahead of time, and there was a funny sort of like era where content creators and press with Atlas Japan specifically, they didn't view them in the same way. So when I would have press embargoes, I would be following and putting them up with all the other media outlets. Like when previews for Tactica went up like a week ago, there's a reason you weren't seeing it from like Joe Blow. Well, I guess I am Joe Blow in this case. Joe Schmo Spencer in Kansas. There's a reason you weren't seeing me posting stuff about it, because they were like, hey, if you're not part of an organization, doesn't matter how big the organization is, but if they've labeled you as like a content creator, they don't want you putting out your opinions and stuff with the press, which was a very big thing for a while.
You mean like simultaneously with the press? They like want you to wait?
Yes, it's a weird thing of like they don't want content creators to do anything until the game is out.
Right.
So like a big thing is there's like a huge wave of people right now who are all playing Tactica, who are not allowed to say anything until the game's out, and then when it's out, they're like, hey, here's my thoughts on the game, go watch me stream it. Because they kind of want to have those two media beats be like separate. Like, here's the press, and then here's like the streamers.
Right, I see. But they're both released at the same time, right? Like, the embargo is...
No, they're separate. Yeah, they're two separate times. So, like, when we'll see the embargo this week for reviews, I think the embargo might be, like, tomorrow or something. It'll be separate from when people talk about it on Friday and stuff like that. So
gotcha.
that's the kind of weird thing.
Tomorrow, you have to wait until the weekend, pretty much. Or Friday.
Exactly. Gotcha. And it's that funny thing of... I'm like, listen, guys, I'll show you pictures. This is not a streamer setup. I think I have like 3 tomatoes powering this computer as we speak right now. I
thought it was potatoes.
I might as well just have Clancy Brown's like a typewriter in front of me putting up this review right now.
Oh, a typewriter.
Nothing's more satisfying though than the ding of a typewriter. I've always had a soft spot for like the slide the page back.
Yeah. Oh man.
Let me tell you, top 10 places I never expected to see a typewriter in 2020. The ending of Killers of the Flower Moon. Have you seen that?
I have. So here's the thing, because I know you're a cinephile. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to throw down with you, because once I had my first kid, I am a bad movie watcher. I haven't watched a film in a long time.
You're not a bad movie watcher. You're a good dad. There's a very big difference between those two.
You're right. I think that's the good spin. I mean, it's not like I don't watch anything. We just tend to watch TV where there's a lot of off ramps. So, you know, and you don't necessarily
Listen, I'm just saying, if Marty wants to give you a couple of bucks to watch his movie and give a sentence or two, that's on him. He knows where to find you.
Right. Yes. I actually got to ask him a question once. He was talking at Brown, I think. I can't even remember why I was there. I think I was there for a short film festival. And I asked him, what is it about the actors that he continually works with again and again, like Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, and he was like, and Daniel Day-Lewis, and I was like, yeah, him too. But like, what attracts him to them as performers? Why does he like? And I think what he said their willingness to go to dark places is what he said, which was actually not as interesting an answer as I was hoping for. I was like, I'll go dark for you, Marty. I'll get messed up, but yeah, that was his answer. I don't know. And then Leonardo DiCaprio texted him saying, "Don't fuck it up." And he said, "See, Leo just texted me, don't fuck it up. That's why I like Leo." I was like, okay, so you like people who aren't impressed by you.
On an opposite thing, I forgot what it was. I saw some random interview of James Cameron, and I thought this was so funny. It was all the reasons he didn't want to hire Leonardo DiCaprio. I thought was like so funny. It was like, it's stuff like that I really appreciate. Like, I really want a director to like really not want the popular guy to be in his movie. Like, give me like, I need a really good reason for you to need to be in this, because I'm already ready to say no.
Yeah.
But yeah, like one of the things I was curious about with it. So, do you remember what that first book was that you did the audiobook for? You flew it up there for?
I mean, I think it was Crows and Cards. But looking back on it, I wouldn't recommend. I think it's problematic. There's a lot of depictions in it that are, I think, problematic. Looking back on it, I was young, and it was a different time. But like, you know, it was like for kids, like middle schoolers and, just like depictions of Native Americans that are probably pretty broad, because it was like set in like the 1830s or something. Like this kid going down a riverboat in like Missouri, probably doesn't stand up very well, if I'm being honest.
I mean, to be fair though, you have done as I'm like literally, I keep scrolling through and I'm like, where's the end of your list of audiobooks? Because it does look like you do more audiobooks than just talking.
Than just talking? What?
Like, you have a hilarious amount of
Yes,
audiobooks that you've done over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I think I've done over 600 audiobooks in my career, which is because of how I don't know if you want to go into the brass tacks about just how the audiobook business works, but basically,
I'd love to. Get me whatever I can do, whatever information I can prawn off you to then like fail miserably at my audiobook career to get started. I'd love to jumpstart it. Why not?
Sure, there you go. You get paid per finished hour, so it's a set rate, flat rate for, like, let's say the audiobook is 10 hours long. You have your rate, which, when you're kind of a seasoned veteran, and if you're willing to have people say no enough, you can marginally bump that rate up from the union minimum, but it's pretty standard. So 10-hour book, let's say, $200 per finished hour, you're going to get $2,000 for that book. So to make a living at it, you just have to do as many books as you possibly can. And when I was first starting out, I was like, when I was first starting out, won some awards, got some attention, was able to get a bunch of clients. Man, I would do doubles. I would record over weekends. It was nuts. I've since said no more doubles, no more weekends, and because you just have to protect your time and your space and your health and your well-being and your ability to do anything else, such as audition for video games.
Exactly.
So that's why I have so many audiobooks. It's because it's a numbers game. You gotta do a lot of them to make a living at it. You do not get any royalties, so it's always fun when
Are you saying you're not resting on the residuals of Animorphs for the rest of your life?
There are none. They don't exist.
I do want you to know there was a very evil brainstorm in my head today at work when I was doing my research on you for a bit, and I thought, I hope he knows I'm going to have to make the podcast image for this week is just you anamorphing into Toshiro.
Please do that. And I'll make it my new icon.
It's like people are gonna expect it to be the tone of Animorphs, but it's really just gonna be a really fucked up version of the Metamorphosis. But I gotta ask, out of all the different kind of series and stuff you work on, audiobooks wise, is there any kind of highlights that stand out, ones that you either really enjoy or are particularly fun to record?
Yeah, there's a lot that are fun to record. The Sandman Slim series I'd been doing since pretty much the second year I even started doing audiobooks, and then it was 15 years of doing Sandman Slim book. That's an urban fantasy, gritty, kind of noirish, fairly blue. And The Reckoners by Brandon Sanderson, that was a lot of fun. That one sort of veers YA a little bit compared to his other work, but he's just a great constructor of worlds, and he's really good at tying character and emotion and emotionally relevant character beats into plot advancement. So The Reckoners was a good one. And then there's serious books like The Passenger by Cormac McCarthy, which recently came out. The Warriors books, that's been a lot of fun. Mostly, I think my favorite thing about the Warriors books has been, the fan base and just people who grew up listening to the the Warriors books. Those are about feral cats, basically. Who
I was gonna say a lot of cat lovers.
a lot of cat lovers. A lot of cat lovers. And they're fun. They're and sometimes I'm really caught off guard by how emotional they get. And brutal. Oh my gosh! Sometimes there's a scene where I'm like, "This is for kids." It's like they're just like it's after a battle.
That is true. Like when you look at what youth fiction was like in the '90s versus now, it's like night and day.
Yeah. Just like cats, just like chests heaving, standing in like pools of blood up to their ankles, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm really upset." Where was I? That's a good series, but mostly it's been with connecting now and then with people who really appreciated it, and it kind of read them as kids and now are listening to it to kind of just relive them. So that's always nice. Yeah, I don't know. So out of 600,
what cat mom? Yeah, I gotta say, like, so what cat mom do we have to thank to finally get you into video game voice acting?
What cat mom? When did it? I was actually. How did this happen? When I came out to LA, I had a big manager, off of like the plays I was doing in New York, but I was kind of just emotionally flailing in New York. I didn't realize how much I didn't like New York. New York's great. It's not.
New York is hard though. New York is great, but New York is.
My problem with New York is not New York. It's me, and it's this.
Are you breaking up with New York right now?
I did this a long time ago, but I haven't had a chance to really put the words to it. It's not you, New York. It's me. No, it's I'm a pretty agreeable person, but that doesn't work great in New York, where there's a limit of space and a limit of time and a maximum of stimulus. You need to be able to kind of assert your boundaries in space and get better at saying no. And especially when you're young and trying to make a career and want to just searching for any opportunity you can to, achieve your dream. You say yes to a lot of stuff that maybe you find out you don't even really care about that much or want to do, and you're exhausted and tired and don't have any time to yourself, and you're like, would I actually be sad if any of these things went away? And also just the living. I mean, like I was living with like 5 guys in a little apartment underneath a train in Queens, and they got infested with rats. It's hard. It's a hard place to be with no money. So anyway, I moved to LA because I figured I've got this big manager. I had just
listen. If I'm going to be broke on the East Coast, I better be broke on the West Coast.
Right. I was like, I'm with this big manager. I just did a play with some really highly regarded actors, and I came out here and things just kind of LA-ified. There's a lot of space out here in more ways than one, and things just kind of opportunities drift further and further apart too, and things got slow, and I was like, well, all I know is that this isn't working. So speaking of jumping off cliffs, I went to my manager and said, hey, I'm going to walk into the woods. And I broke up with my manager. He did not take it well, which was interesting. I was like, why do you care? I mean, it's not like you're sending me on any auditions. But he didn't.
You were actually his only client. That was the real reason we found out.
Right. No, he got really upset, and then his assistant called me. It was really sweet. His assistant called me after I left and was like, "Hey, man, I just got off work, and I just wanted to call you to let you know you did the right thing. He wasn't working for you, and I don't know why he got upset with you, but you don't feel guilty or bad about walking away." And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so then I, made movies with my buds. And, but after all that, I was kind of like, you know what? The other thing that I loved was science growing up and the idea of medicine. So I went to UCLA, EMT school, and,
oh, nice.
Yeah. And, did the whole course to become an EMT. And then literally like the week before I took my final, which I took in passed, but I never got my license because the week before I did that, and I guess all the while through this, I was still doing audiobooks. That was like my job. The week before my final, a friend who was with A3 Artist Agency was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to do like video games and animation and even commercials. Like, I just love voiceover. I love being behind a microphone. I enjoy the craft, and I just love text. I love raising text and collaborating. You know, that's the one thing with audiobooks. You don't get to really collaborate. It's a lot of text and a lot of lifting, but you don't get the kind of other fun parts that theater kids like me enjoy, aka other humans. So I went to A3 and they were like, "You sound great. We can imagine booking you in lots of stuff." They signed me, and all of a sudden I had a pathway towards doing voiceover, and I kind of was like, I really want to do this. And I want to do this more than I want to become a paramedic. And so yeah, I just kept narrating books and auditioning for wonderful things like this.
Have you ever had any like nightmares waking up in a cold sweat wondering like what if like you could be that paramedic who like you resuscitate some guy in the back of a van on the highway and he's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much," and then when he hears your voice he's like, "Oh my were you Green Arrow?" Why, yes, I am.
Yes, I am. I have not had that dream. No, I have not had that dream.
Not yet.
Not yet. I can't remember. Like God, it can be pretty gnarly. You know, I did a ride along in an ambulance and everything, and
oh yeah, no, I have a buddy of mine who is an EMT, and that him telling me about that job is enough to make me go, "I'm glad that's your job."
Yeah. I don't know.
So you've been out in LA for like how many years now?
Now, I moved here in 2011, so I guess that means 12 years. Is that right?
God, time is a flat circle, unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah, so like world's longest intro ever, 70% into the show
is this
here.
The intro?
Yeah, we this is the. Can you wait for the timestamps?
The cue music.
The music's come on. We're like, "Hey, I'm going to need you to tell me about your character while I'm kicking you off the show."
His name's Toshiro, and he's really great.
But yeah, like, so I'm trying to remember. So this was with PCB, right, for Tactica?
Yeah. Val directed it.
And had you ever had a chance to work with them before on anything
this is my
else?
First time.
Bad news. They're all fantastic.
What? What's all fantastic?
Everybody at PCB. The only thing with PCB that I always find really funny is every time I talk to them, like, why is everyone who works there
even
so nice?
Even the dogs are incredible. They're real, but the little dogs. They're so cute.
The dog's just in the editing booth, just like the end of Silent Hill 2. He's just making the whole magic happen.
Yeah, and I was really nice though when I walked in. Suddenly I looked at my engineer and was like, "Oh hey," because we'd worked together on audiobooks. So it was a very comfortable space to walk into.
That's awesome. Do you remember either when you like might have auditioned for Tactica or like when the recording was for you?
When I auditioned, it's probably something I could track down.
It was 1973.
1973. No, I mean this stuff takes so long. I mean,
that's the best part. Like
the first time my first session was what year is it now? It's 2023.
23.
I know
recording was.
I feel like my first session must have been in like 2021.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I know recording it wrapped last year.
Yes, yeah, last year. Then the bulk of my sessions were last year, and so I guess I recorded sometime in the middle of 2020, or auditioned sometime in the middle of 2021, I guess. And I auditioned for a couple characters. as it is with video games, had no idea what I was auditioning for. Even when I booked the role, I had no idea what I had booked until I walked into the room.
Like, can you explain to me what kind of diet is the national diet? Is this a keto-esque? What can I really expect here?
Right. Yes, I did find that confusing.
Now is he so poor he can't afford 2 gloves? Is there like a reason behind this? Is this like a Michael Jackson's
I'm
glove
already
story?
getting
What's happening
roasted? Here? Amazing. I'm gonna go with the Michael Jackson. It's a Michael Jackson.
It's more.
He's got the moves.
Someone will mod it in on PC. Someone will mod in the bedazzled glove for him. I'm
and
sure.
the hat and just the kind.
Yeah, he's moonwalking everywhere. It's very weird. He's the only character who walks
All right,
backwards.
you hear that, internet? Your mission has been assigned. Make Toshiro moonwalk.
So, like, that's, like, the funny thing, though, with, like, Toshiro, like, because, like, the 2 big new characters for this game are Erina, who's, like, very prominently, like, been advertised, like, hey, here is the big party member joining. But, like, Toshiro's been in, like, almost all the media, but doesn't really, like, we know very, like, I think, like, his entire, like, wiki description on the website is, like, 2 sentences. So it's really funny of, like, how little is kind of known about them outside of everything, but it is funny of, like, hey, you're on, like, the box art, like, you are a main character, but there's just, like, very little kind of known about you. Is that kind of, like, weird?
Yeah.
Of, like...
Yes, it is.
It's like, here's this mystery character you will all have to wait till the game comes out to find out who they are.
Here's the thing: is like I've just been so excited for this to like come out because I had a blast and I'm really proud of the work I did, and hopefully it translates into the final thing. But it has been interesting, just being like, withholding or just yeah. Every once in a while, I'm like, wait, am I in this? Did I actually record like some like?
They kept you in. They didn't recast you.
Did I actually just record like some DLC that's like an extra bonus thing? No, but I think the reason it's I don't want to say much because I don't want to spoil it for people. But I think the reason they're kind of holding back is he's very important to Erina in a way that people will discover, and so and they're
Well, as people like, so I'm not sure like how much of it you either would have been aware of already beforehand, but like the like kind of easy win to making a character in the Persona series is if they're not a high school student, the fan base is already going to like you.
Really?
Because it's so much of just the same for so long. Because like originally Persona, like especially like Persona 2, had adult like characters as part of the main cast for so long, but then as like the focus on 3 became high school, there was not really as much like adult characters to kind of flesh out the story. But like we've had other examples as things have gone on, like the like with Zenkichi, who was in the other Persona 5 spinoff and stuff like these older people who are like part of the story. It adds that extra kind of like breath of fresh air in the sense of, hey, this is someone who can kind of give more than just high school stereotype number 6.
Right, a different perspective.
Exactly.
Different responsibilities. Yeah.
Now, I gotta ask, like, there's no wrong answer. This is a safe space, so you can be completely honest. What was before this your kind of knowledge or understanding of like Persona or like SMT, if anything?
I hope people won't judge me when I say I was unaware. I had
no judgment. That's like the best part of it, was like, because at least like you're not really aware of it, you kind of get like the best of both worlds in the sense of you get to just jump headfirst into being in it, and then the fan base just kind of comes to you to help you learn along the way.
Yeah. Well, so here's my, please, if you see me, help me learn and be kind and be gentle. But one of the things was cool is just getting to discover the world and I won't say what artwork or what scenes of it I've seen, but like just it's so gorgeous. It's such a beautiful world, and the storylines that they create are like pretty massive head-bending things that there were a couple days recording where I was just like, oh wow, like this is a very cool thing to be a part of. It's the artistry is pretty shocking.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's really interesting with Tactica, especially, is like it's obviously not like the first spin-off or whatever in it, but it's the first one that's very drastically kind of different looking that we've had, and like kind of like it's sort of chibi, but not really. It's sort of like its own interesting sort of art style with it that's so funny. But like what I loved, especially a lot of stuff was coming out like last week of showing off like the concept art of your character, and it was funny of them drawing it in kind of both styles, like the way it looks in the game, and then like how they would look normally, like the more hyper detailed look of all the characters was so fascinating to see.
That's what I got in my audition. I saw that kind of hyper, the more realistic kind of.
You're not just looking at like three nubs in a face with a smile on it. It's like, that's you.
I'm a bar of soap.
You're those nubs.
Right.
Well, yeah, like being shown that character in terms of kind of giving him that voice, like, because I actually still haven't heard your take on it really in like a large amount for it. Like, so when kind of getting his voice, was it pretty close to your own, sort of looking for something different? Were you kind of going off of the Japanese version, if you heard it at all, or?
Not so much. There's some things that you have to mirror the Japanese version very closely from a timing point of view, because a lot of the programming of the game has already been set, and so your cue has to land within those certain allotted movements and animations. But
Someone's gonna match those lip flaps.
Yeah, well, the lip flaps, the dubbing aspect, that's definitely part of it. But even just like in game, it's like when there's like well, actually, maybe you should erase that, because I don't know.
You're good. Well, because we've seen that there is the like animated cutscene along with like the in-game one as well, of like the ones with that. But yeah, I get you.
Oh yeah, how did I arrive at the voice? Yeah, it's close to self. I just him being a politician, I removed. I did support it with my diaphragm, removed my vocal fry, and just made him cleaner sounding, a little bit more adult, if memory serves, as opposed to my like, hey, what's up, how you doing?
The cool guy MacLeod neutral sound.
Different from my usual cool vibe.
You should see how I order Taco Bell with this voice.
Give me one of them Cool Ranch Doritos Locos tacos and a cheesy gordita
Sir, we don't
crunch.
have those anymore, but your voice was so cool, I'm going to find a way to make it for you.
Buy a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, and I'm going to put the toppings on it for you. Just put them in the bag.
Somewhere out there are those real ones in the drive-thru who are like, you know what, sir, you definitely just made up this menu item, but I'll make it happen for you.
Right.
But are you planning on picking up a copy on Friday or playing it yourself?
I would love to. I again, sort of like with movies, video games, dad time. It all went away.
Can we force your children to play it in front of you? Is that an
They're
option?
not old enough.
That's true. The ESRB will come down on you if they even touch that controller.
That's right. I would desperately like to, but it's not in the cards for me. One day,
it's
maybe
okay. Will it just kind of be like
after the release or whatever? Pay for me to go, Twitch it somewhere in a hotel, then by all means, I'm in.
What'll be wild is just now
you're
just going to get
my life.
What'll be great is like a year from now, I'm gonna like touch base with you, and you're gonna be like, I've played a total combined 2 hours across 14 conventions in the last 12 months, and it's just been the first 30 minutes of the
That
game.
will be my conventions shtick. Should I be so fortunate to be invited?
Yeah,
to
I won't do Q&As, but you can watch me try to play the game.
And pick up. Let's see, where was I? What's going on? Huh? What's this? Yeah, that'll be great. People will love it.
Mr. Andrews, you've been on the settings for 30 minutes of your 45-minute panel. I think we need to at least press the new game button.
It's so important
please.
to dial it in. It's so important to dial it in. You know, where you want those sound effects to hit. Getting the mix, that audio mix. It's crucial.
So then I've just got to imagine, are you just going to like open the spoiler floodgates with open arms of just be like, all right, everybody, send me all of your opinions of this game as quickly as possible, please?
I don't know if I want to know everybody's opinion of the game as quickly as possible. If they're only the good stuff, send me all the good stuff. Yeah. No, and the bad stuff. I've already been reading like cruising comment sections. You know, I understand people really want P6.
They can wait. It's too bad.
So I see there's some frustration there. But I hope.
I love that someone would look at this and think that in any way this is stopping it from coming out sooner.
Yeah,
That'd
exactly.
It'd be like looking at the Marvels and being like, I can't believe this is the reason we didn't get Deadpool 3 sooner. Right. It'd be like, that's not how that works, bud.
I'm sure it's being developed heavily.
I can neither confirm nor deny my role as the main diet man in P6. I'm sorry.
That's a really good point. I thought that flashed across my brain at one point where it was just like, I don't think Tactica is like slowing down the pipeline.
No. It's the plus it's that extra fun thing of like, it's such a niche spin-off that like they have to kind of know it's its own thing, because like already like RPGs are like even like as popular as like Persona has become over the last couple of years, they're very well known, but like tactical RPGs specifically still kind of have that aura around them of like either being soul-crushingly hard or soul-crushingly niche, that like I'm just genuinely curious, like, because I'm the rare example of this ticks all of my boxes for what I kind of like in terms of gameplay, but we've never seen this before. Similarly, like when there were the dancing games, which I'm sorry you couldn't be a part of. DLC, maybe one day we could see you dancing. that'd be a possibility.
Yeah. Persona
5 Toshiro All Night DLC.
That's right, and that's how MacLeod broke his hip.
Yeah, they were like, we would have just like paid someone else to do it, but we found you for a really good rate on Fiverr and put you in the mocap suit.
That's right. I would love to do mocap. I haven't gotten to do mocap.
What a twist and turn this last hour has been for you. I know I'm not going to steal up too much of your time here, but I just got to thank you for coming on the show nonetheless, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a real pleasure. Yeah, you probably need some rest now after your long day.
No, there will be no rest allowed. I've already had to apologize to my wife for A, coming home first, and B, immediately ignoring her for a podcast. So she gets me for the rest of the night. So she's my babysitting duty for the night. It'll be this and editing. But yeah, I gotta ask though. So for everyone out there who might want to follow you, find out more about like what sort of stuff you're in, or send all of their fancy pants new fan art to, where should we direct this towards?
I'm on Instagram at Brasswall, BRASSWALL. I am on Twitter. I won't call it X.
X.com. Want to find me on X?
Sad. You know, Twitter was like my one. I had pruned away all of my social media, and Twitter was my one kind of like, I will do Twitter. And then it just became, I don't know, ridiculous. And I was like, but this is where a lot of my interfacing with
That's the thing, man. It's like I've committed time into this dumpster fire. I might as well see what happens.
And, I mean, like it's the place where I get the most kind of genuine interaction with listeners and fans, and just anything that has to do with like my job. So I really wanted to leave, but I didn't, and I haven't. I just don't go on very much. But I check it. So if you ping me there, it might take me a little bit of time, but I'll check it and I'll find it and I will respond and appreciate it. And also, no judgment here for being on Twitter. I can't. I'm still there. Yeah. So Twitter, Instagram. I joined Blue Sky. I'm there. I check that even less than I check Twitter, but
I was gonna say, like, shout out to whoever keeps trying on Blue Sky, but like, here's my whole thing with it. Every time I see anyone who made a Blue Sky, I see like these mega popular people with like thousands of followers on every other platform, and then I see they're like 13 followers on here, and I'm like, am I just gonna be
like a fan? That's like when I'm like, ooh, if I get them on Blue Sky, like if I go say, hey, what's up to Neil Gaiman, Neil Gaiman on like Blue Sky, he's gonna be like, "What's up, man?" He'll be like,
only the real ones are on Blue Sky. That's where you make the realest connections.
I joined Threads, so I'm there. If that's where you are, bring me in, draw me in. I don't go there very often, but I'm not a. Oh, that was my alarm to pick up my daughter from school, but I don't.
It's your agent.
Yes, my 3.5-year-old agent. But I have nothing against Threads, other than all of them are just sucking our data, and I don't know. Social media makes me sad. Everyone
the
can
Tumblr's
tell.
coming
Everyone
soon.
can tell I'm old.
So the Tumblr's coming soon, though. The fan blog Tumblr. Any day now.
Did I ever have a Tumblr? I don't think I ever had a Tumblr. Sure,
it's never too late.
Wants it, I'll do it.
You're on. I bet there's something you've done on Tumblr at least.
There's probably something I did on Tumblr. Now I'm afraid of what I might have done on Tumblr.
Oh no, they found my Literotica recordings on Tumblr.
Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. Where should I be? I'll go there.
You know where I think we should all go this week, in this week's not sponsored post. Will you be going and trying any Persona 5 Tactica barbecue/drinks at Gyukaku? I have to ask.
So, is it only Friday? No, it goes.
No. It starts Friday, but it's the whole month, so it goes for a month starting Friday.
I realized, so my wife and I haven't been out of the house. We haven't been away from the twins since they were born.
You're definitely making your children sound like prison wardens.
No,
I just want you to know that.
Being a parent is fucking hard. It's a lot of work. If you want to be good at it anyway, you got to be around a lot.
That's true, man. It's so easy to be a bad parent.
Yeah.
Like, people don't talk about this enough.
And you know what? And I don't even want to assume I'm a good one, but I am a present one. So anyway, we haven't been away from them yet, ever. In their entire lives, we have been here. So my mom is coming in town, and the weekend of release, we're going out of town for the first time ever. And then I realized, I was like, it was the only weekend where it would work. And then I was like, oh wait, that's the weekend of that's the game release. And I was just like, if I could just have like an hour each day while we're away to like just kind of check in on the world and see how it's landing. She's like, no problem. We're gonna go to wine country and drink wine. Baby wine.
It's gonna be like, honey, I know this is your day right now, but please.
We're talking Solvang. So
the good
the
stuff.
Good Solvang. It's a little like fake Dutch. No. Denmark. What's the like? I am of Denmarkian. What is that? Shh.
I think it's just Denmark.
I'm just Denmarkian, but you're not Denmarkian. You don't eat Denmarkian food. I'm blanking.
I'm looking this up now. You got me curious. What is this called? Danes.
Danish, of course. delicious. So it's this little like fake Danish town that like has some wine tasting rooms. Wait, I shouldn't be telling people where I'm gonna friggin' be.
Note to self: Doc's AAA voice actor in wine country.
Wait, there's one thing that I wanted to talk about. So I'm sorry to your wife for keeping you.
Oh, she's waiting. I've locked her out. It's too late now. She's not getting back in.
I need love.
She's got her paw underneath the door hole.
Right. No, but I listened to parts of your interview with Leanna.
And you're still here?
Yes. No, but she was talking about clowns. And
oh god.
And her love of hairy clowns. And fun fact, I in middle school trained with a Ringling Brothers clown.
Oh my god, does she know this?
No, she doesn't know this.
I'm gonna snip this out and send it to her tonight. You're gonna make her night, I bet.
I do have a big beard, so I guess you could say I'm a hairy clown.
That's so funny. So, like, she's actually the reason I reached out to you. I actually didn't know what your socials was, and when I reached out to her, her first response to me wasn't, "Oh, sure, I'd love to be on." It was, "You should have MacLeod on first." And it was just so funny. It was like, oh yeah, I didn't even know where your like socials and stuff were at, because like it had been out there, but I must have just like missed when it was official. I've
been thinking about the whole, at least Instagram, because I'm not at MacLeod Andrews VA or whatever, because I got on Instagram before anybody would care who I was. I'm still waiting for anybody to care. So
today
is the day.
The stalker who's doxing you in wine country, that's the day.
That's right. That's it. Like, my wife will be horrified, and I'm going to say, I've made it!
Honey, we've made it. He knows our IP address. We have to move now.
He knows I like Pinot.
No! Oh my god. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been an absolute blast having you on. I'm excited for everyone to send all their weird mods your way, out of context screenshots.
Can't wait. Especially for the out of context screenshots.
Yes, exactly. Like, when did his shirt come off in this scene? What happened here? But, yeah, thank you so much, man. I will have all of their fun places to find you, and definitely not stalk you down below. So everyone, go ahead, give him some love, conditional love on the socials, even the blue sky, the real ones there.
the diehards.
The diehard blue skyers.
Yeah. Someone got me on Clubhouse. I have yet to go on Clubhouse, though.
Oh my god, I forgot. I think I forgot I have a Clubhouse. Forgot about that one.
I talk all day.
All right.
I don't want to. I talk all day. Anyway.
It's true.
Well,
I have to let you go. You're the one acting like I'm the big right. You have an actual human being waiting for you.
She's not waiting. She's having a great time on the playground.
She's currently right now telling someone, he's like, "Oh, where's your daddy?" And she's
so
like,
cool.
"Oh, he's probably waiting to." He's like, "Oh, he's probably waiting to get slot faced out of the Pinot country and the Danes."
That's right. No. You go. Do some cuddling and just affirmations and make life beautiful tonight.
Thank you. I will. I'll be cuddling in one hand and editing in the other, as all true lovers do. Yes. Nothing says you're 90% the most important thing in my life, quite like the half hug cuddle. Well, man, thank you so much. But also, hey, everyone listening, thank you for listening to whatever the heck this was the last hour of your life.
The longest intro in podcast history.
59-minute intro, 60-second ads, and HelloFresh will probably put in something at the end of the show. There you go.
Cue the music.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.